It's that time of the month where we run out of pepperoni Hot Pockets and El Monterey's burritos, and we gotta start pulling out the big dogs, the chili packet noodles and Tina's burritos.
What's that? What's that, brother?
Basically, what I'm saying is that I grew up in the projects, and just like you, I understand broke. But just because we can't afford the finer things in life doesn't mean that we have to give up on our ambitions. In fact, knowing how to manage our finances and go for what we can afford is what makes us some of the most resourceful people in the game. But how does that apply for Yu-Gi-Oh? Brokey, budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks. Come on now, I'm gonna tell you all about it. Today, big dog, we're gonna be talking about all types of budget decks that you can be using. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Now, excuse me to everybody new. If you are new, I'm TheCaliEffect. Hi. Hi, Mom. But every single week, I have a special way to scam you guys into bettering yourself, not only as Yu-Gi-Oh players, but as people overall. It's called Update Monday. And for today's Update Monday, I want to talk to you guys about something a little bit more personal. If you were here for last week, you remember me talking about how I did a job interview to become a teacher and I was waiting on to hear back from them. I decided to take the initiative and call them up, and they told me I ain't get the job. I ain't get the job. I ain't get the job. Now, they said they went with a different candidate, which I took it a little bit personal. In my head, there is nobody better than me for the job, and that's how I want you guys to feel in anything you do. It's not a race against somebody else, but it's definitely a competition against yourself. And if you've progressed yourself enough, then you realize that you've came a long way and you deserve the things that you deserve. But regardless, even if you are a better candidate or not, these things are going to happen. So my advice for you guys is to always prove them wrong. You want to make sure that people regret not choosing you over the decision. And how you do that is becoming a better person. And becoming a better person can be subjective. It can mean all different types of things. Becoming stronger, faster, healthier. Even at a point in time, serial killers had to up their game and become better people than who they are. I'm going to stop right there. Don't be a serial killer. But basically what I'm saying is, you know exactly what it takes for you to improve. Always look forward and prove those haters wrong. Just like how we're going to be proving that we're broke, we're woke, but we're no joke. Now, I've separated this video into different categories to help you guys determine which type of budget player are you. Are you on a super tight Yu-Gi-Oh budget where you need your deck to be as cheap as possible? Are you a budget player looking for something that has been proven time after time again to be competitive in and out of Yu-Gi-Oh formats? Are you looking for something with a lot of boom or bust potential? Something that can be really strong into the format at the right time? A budget deck for you to be able to prep for the future? Or something that can be really good in the meta right now? Those are the particular categories that I considered when making this budget deck. And if you want to see more budget decks that I talk about, I made a tier list. But let's go ahead and start off with the most budget that you can get. Dinomorphia is definitely right there. Now, I was pretty shocked to find out that Dinomorphia not only topped 1, but 2 separate Yu-Gi-Oh regionals. It's crazy to know that a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that hasn't received any support in years can still actually be good. Dinomorphia is getting the same amount of support as a single man with no job and no family, and is still killing it. So if you just so happen to have this type of budget, then the strategy would probably be for you. I would say from top to bottom, the main components of the deck cost maybe about $10 to $20, and then the other cards are just staple trap cards like Solemn Judgment and Solemn Strike to be able to reduce your life points and stop your opponent's important cards. And then other really cheap commons like Ferret Flames when your life points get low enough to get rid of all your opponent's monsters. Dinomorphia is also really easy to learn. All you have to do is get your Dinomorphia Frenzy and your Dinomorphia domains online, and once you do that, the game becomes a lot easier. Your game plan is just to summon Dinomorphia Rexstrom and make your opponent's life miserable. I would personally recommend this Yu-Gi-Oh strategy for anyone getting into the game or someone that's getting back into the game but doesn't want to spend a lot of money. Kind of like a dip the toe situation, so you can see if it's warm enough or cold enough, and then, you know, if you like it, you get all the way in.
Nobody has to know that you dip the toe, dip the toe.
But there's a strategy that has the potential to be stronger than Dinomorphia, but also has the potential to be weaker than Dinomorphia. This is my boom or bust section. This particular portion is reserved for Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that are unproven, but Sword Soul is technically likely a proven style Yu-Gi-Oh deck. When Sword Soul first came out around 2022, it was a dominant Yu-Gi-Oh strategy. And outside of Better on the Floor being banned, it still has all of those tools to be able to compete in modern Yu-Gi-Oh. While it doesn't have one-card combos like some of the new kids on the block has, it makes up for it with having some really good board breaker Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I always thought that it was really weird that Tingy Spirit Vashuda and Boxia Brightness of Yang Zing could be cards that can be incorporated in Sword Soul easily, whether you're going first or going second to be able to extend your combos or break your opponent's board. It's a part of the strategy. And then one of the craziest things about the deck is that it can search Arc Nemesis Protoss. In actuality, this was so powerful at one point in time, Sword Soul is the reason why Protoss was originally banned. When Sword Soul came around, there weren't a ton of light Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that were killing it. But now everyone's playing Yugioh, which is half light, half fire, and Fiendsmith, which is a light deck. One of the best things about being a person that grew up broke is that you learn to take advantage of every opportunity you see. And when I see tons of players using light strategies in their deck, Sword Soul being able to make Xiaofeng, which could easily prevent your opponent from using light effects and ironically stop you from being Nibiru too, is huge to me. Tingy Spirit Saruye isn't the do-it-all fixed card that Sword Soul needed, but it was 100% a step in the right direction. It greatly helped the strategy more than what a lot of players would like to give credit. If anything, you could just simply say that Sword Soul is just simply a chill guy. What I like about Boom or Bust projects is that it almost feels like playing stock, but for poor people. You get an opportunity to see a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy build itself up and become incredible. I think that Sharks fall into that category fairly easy because it is a deck that has a lot of potential. Sharks have that one card that feels like a stock option. Surfacing Big Jaws can special summon itself when a spell card is activated and then freely searches any other shark monster. The only drawback to surfacing Big Jaws is that you can only Exceed summon for the rest of the turn. Well, in case you didn't get the news flash, this particular year is going to be about Exceed summoning. Locking yourself to only Exceed summoning is not the worst thing in the world, especially if you get a free Exceed monster off of it. I mean, Sharks have tons of combos, and when the new spell card 7th Tachyon comes out, the deck becomes a lot more consistent. Not only does it get a spell card that can search Surfacing Big Jaws, it also fulfills the requirement to summon Surfacing Big Jaws, making the deck a little bit more resistant to hand traps and also giving you an extender piece that the deck desperately needs. I think that the year of the Exceed is very real, but oftentimes Konami does give us things to be able to keep that in check. I don't think that it'll be like the year of the Fire where we've seen Rescue Ace and Fire King dominate the meta, but I think Exceeds are going to play a pivotal role in the Yu-Gi-Oh, which is also why I think Goblin Biker is going to be really good too. This one has my vote of confidence for meta budget because it's so good at being able to stop Exceed Yu-Gi-Oh decks. And seeing that one of the best of them is Yugioh that loves to stack multiple materials on Yugioh Detonator, Goblin Biker kinda does a really good job at handling that. Now, Goblin Bikers only did get one additional card in Supreme Darkness, which me personally, I'm a little upset over, but that one card can be game-changing. We've seen it happen so many times before. Kick-Ass Goblin Bikers is kind of good. It's the boss monster that Goblin Bikers have sorely needed. It allows you to be able to target face-up monsters your opponent controls up to the number of goblin monsters you control. You detach a material from any monster you control and attach the targeted monsters to that card as material. You can make it work with Goblin Biker Bitcobonga to be able to attach another card on your opponent's side of the field. And it also rewards you for playing Goblin Biker, something that I've always wanted Konami to do, reward us for playing the deck. Goblin Bikers are finally getting that boss monster they deserve, and hopefully the recognition that they'll be able to deserve. It may not have the tops like Dinomorphia, but this deck is also relatively cheap. I personally would start picking up cards, namely Goblin Biker Grand Entrance, before it's too late. And lastly, what I like to call that bougie budget deck, the proven meta. It reminds me of growing up when I would go to my cousin's house and they'd have the new PlayStation, then they'd have the new freshest clothes out, the new styles, but we still in the hood. This deck is budget just like that, except I don't think that it'll act as bougie. Hear me out when I say that Labyrinth are a budget yet bougie and proven budget Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It feels kind of good to note that. My theory about Yu-Gi-Oh right now is that trap cards are actually phenomenal. And if you're going to play a trap Yu-Gi-Oh deck, probably should play the best one. It can search both Dimensional Barrier and Simult Archfiend if you decide to play them to shut down Exceeds, Links, Pendulums, Synchros, Fusions, or whatever. And it also can search different Dimension Ground if you notice some of the best decks in the game steal sideboard Dimensional Shifter. But I don't think it's good because of that. I think trap cards are just legitimately strong. We talked about how Dinomorphia was getting away with Solemn Judgments and Solemn Strikes. The deck is really good at being able to control the momentum, whether it's going first or going second. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh strategies don't have those negates anymore, meaning that if you are going second with a ton of trap cards, you're not as oppressed as you would be when your opponent could just stop it with a random card effect. It gives strategies the ability to move a little bit more freely, and that's what I like about Labyrinth. And if you ever wanted to pull out the new PlayStation on those brokies, Dominus Impulse would definitely be that card. The card is about $50 a pop, but sometimes when you got it like that, you got it like that, big dog. I ain't even gonna hold you. But that's what I got for my top 5 budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks this format, fitting all of my criterias here. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget about your boy TheCaliEffect. Make sure to subscribe, but also go ahead and check out these videos, and be sure to catch me on the next one.